It's my pleasure to be standing in Tel Aviv with Victoria Coach. She serves as Vice President for Foreign Policy at the Heritage Foundation. And Victoria, this has been a whirlwind trip for the Heritage Foundation. Give a little bit of an overview of why Heritage has been in Israel this week.
Well, Virginia, great to be with you. We've had a wonderful week here in Jerusalem and beautiful Tel Aviv. And we're here because Heritage is deeply committed to the U.S. Israel relationship. We just published the U.S. Israel strategy last month. We've been working on Project Esther to combat anti Semitism in the United States, and we now have three staff members here in Jerusalem, our only non U.S. resident staff members. We have senior fellow Eugene Kontorovich, as well as our visiting fellows with the Abraham Accords Peace Institute, David Aronson and Asher Fredman. And we just had extraordinary meetings with everyone from the Prime Minister, Minister for Strategic Affairs Ron Dermer, the Defense Minister, the Foreign Minister. We had a great meeting at the Knesset. So it was just an opportunity, really a critical moment as we're going around the 100th day of Donald Trump's presidency, to level set with our Israeli colleagues.
Excellent. Well, we have a couple things going on in the Middle East right now. And I know you talked about many of those things with some of those individuals that you have mentioned. Obviously, one of the big ones is Iran and ongoing negotiations and talks with Iran, between the United States and Iran over their nuclear program. Share, if you would, a little bit about the conversations that were had regarding Iran and their nuclear program this week.
Yeah, this is a very serious moment, and as President Trump has said repeatedly, he will not allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon on his watch, and he knows what kind of existential threat that poses immediately to Israel, of course, but then also to America, because if they're the little Satan and we're the big Satan in that worldview, if you get the little Satan, you don't stop there. You're going after Satan, so you're coming after the big Satan, so we're next. I think the president clearly understands that. And the question is, how close are they to a bomb? What can be done about it? Is there a diplomatic option? After the 4 years of neglect of the Biden administration, when they were allowed to do whatever they want, that's when they started enriching at over 60%. We now have thousands and thousands of sophisticated centrifuges spinning. The clock is ticking, as the president has said. And so we will have to assess. We at the Heritage Foundation agree with the president that they cannot get a bomb. We need to do everything we can to prevent it. We also very strongly believe, and this is the critical point, a strike on the Iranian nuclear facilities does not result necessarily in war. That is not a given. The Israelis have done this twice before, no war. The Israelis have been managing a 7-front conflict everyone a year ago thought was going to erupt into a regional war. It hasn't, because they've managed it. They don't want that to happen. So I think we need to be obviously very cautious and judicious about our use of force, but we also can't scare ourselves into inaction that could cost us dearly down the road.
Yeah. As you're talking, I'm thinking about how much things have changed in the Middle East since October 7th, and the role that Israel has played in changing that, and even in now these nuclear negotiations. I know that was something that came up this week. If you would, just speak to that a little bit.
Well, in a way, I think Israel deserves a peace prize for what they've done over the course of the last year. I mean, they've taken out Hezbollah, they've degraded Hamas, they've taken actions against the Houthi. They've also taken direct action against Iran, knocking out Iran's air defenses, again, without causing a regional war. And really, what I think we're leaving the country with today, Virginia, because it is Independence Day, Israel's turning 77 years old, which is an amazing thing, is, we had the horror of those fires yesterday, likely set by Hamas supporters, and here we are on the beach, and the joggers are out, and the surfers are in the surf, and we're going to fly just as if it's a normal day. And the resilience of this country is an extraordinary thing.